Hello, it's Mrs. Lawler. I'm making a recording for you to help you with part of the Unit 8 worksheet. You could see I have the Unit 8 worksheet up here. This is the program that I have open, or I'm sorry, the file that I have open. We're going to start with part 2 because I know this is the part that most of you have had trouble with. The first question here is, it's important to follow all the rules when writing a chemical equation. Write a chemical equation from any page on lesson 8.06 or in lesson 8.06. Use symbols first and then also describe the chemical equation in words. Now you have an example one here. This is the chemical equation that you write first in symbols. Then here is the part where it's written in words. So 2 molecules of hydrogen gas react with 1 molecule of oxygen gas to make 2 molecules of water. Okay, I'm going to give you guys another example. So the first thing you need to do is go to lesson 8.06 because that's what it tells you to do, right? So I'm going to go to lesson 8.06. Here is lesson 8.06. I'm actually on page 8. I chose this equation right here. 4Fe plus 3O2 yields 2 Fe2O3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy that into my worksheet. So I'm going to make it so I can see both screens at the same time. 4Fe plus 3O2. I'm going to change that to a subscript in just a minute. Yields 2Fe2O3. Okay, now let's make this bigger so you can see it. All right, now I'm going to go through and I'm going to make all my numbers that are supposed to be subscripts. I'm going to make them subscripts by highlighting them and clicking the subscript button. Okay, so there. I can highlight 2 at once if I hold down the control button and click the little subscript button. Okay, so now I have the first part done and I'm writing it in the wrong place. So I'm going to copy this down here to the right question. Okay, so now I have the first part done. I use symbols first. Now I'm going to write, I'm going to describe the equation in words. So what I need to do is I need to look at each individual part. Here I have 4 iron atoms, okay? There's not a compound or a molecule there. You know that's iron. You can look it up on the periodic table if you forgot. And I think it's also in the lesson. Yep, right here. It tells you Fe is iron, okay? So go back to my worksheet. I see there's 4 of them. So I'm going to write 4 iron atoms. Whenever I see a plus sign, I can just write the word and. So and excuse me, 3O2. Well, what is O2? You can go back to the lesson to see what O2 is, and it just tells you what O is. Oh, it doesn't tell you what O2 is. But we know it's just not an oxygen atom, right? It's not just an oxygen atom because it's O2. So it's an oxygen molecule, okay? So how many oxygen molecules are there? There's 3 oxygen molecules. So 4 iron atoms and 3 oxygen molecules. Now this yield sign right here, you can just put reacts to form, or you can even put the word yields. Yields. Then we need to just put what it yields. 2 Fe2O3. Now on this one you can go back to the lesson and find out what it is. Okay, so here is Fe2O3 in the lesson. So it's telling you that that is iron oxide. So it's called iron oxide. So go back to the worksheet and write iron oxide. Oh, but how many iron oxide? Well, the coefficient tells you how many. 2. So I'm going to stick a little 2 in there. 2 iron oxides, or I could put a number 2. Okay, so 4 iron atoms and 3 oxygen molecules yields 2 iron oxide. Okay, now there's different ways you can write it. This is just one way to write it. So yeah, if you took the time to watch this video, you can go ahead and use my example, or if you want to challenge yourself, there are many other equations in lesson 8.06 that you can pick to try it on your own. See, as I scroll through, there's many equations you can pick. Okay, so that takes care of number 1. Number 2 is when you're going to use the PhET simulation. Okay, so you'll need to press Control and click here, and it will open this simulation right here. There are 3 different ones that you're going to balance. So it's already set for the first one. When you're done with the first one, you click this and it brings a different one up. And then when you're done with that, you click this one and it brings a different one up. So that's all three of them. We're going to just start with the first one. I'm going to use the first one as the example. Okay, another thing you'll want to click is the balance scales down here. You can actually either choose balance scales or bar charts. I like the balance scales, so I'll put the balance scales on. So you can see whether each individual atom is balanced. These are balance scales, right? Okay, so one thing you should notice for sure when you first start off, there's a 0 there. Well, you should know you never write zeros as coefficients when you're balancing. So the lowest number you can write is a 1. So I'm going to just go ahead and change them all to 1 because you cannot write zeros in balancing. If there's a 0 there, I'm saying that 0 molecules of nitrogen react. Well, that doesn't make any sense, right? I need at least 1 molecule of nitrogen to react to get this over here, right? So change them all to 1. Another thing I want to mention is about the ones. Yeah, you have to put a 1 in for this simulation because otherwise it doesn't work unless there's a number there. But when you're actually writing it on your sheet, you won't write the ones, okay? So put a 1 in all of them. Then you can look at each one and see what needs to be balanced. Okay, I have 2 nitrogens here, but only 1 over here. So I know I need more on this side, right? And also I can tell down here that I need more nitrogens on the product side, right? Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and increase it and see what happens. Oh, look, the nitrogens are balanced now. Oh, but my hydrogens sure are not balanced, okay? I can look up here how many hydrogens. There's 2 times 3, 6 hydrogens over here. 1 times 2, only 2 over here, okay? So I need to put more on this side. So I can increase this number until it's balanced. One thing you can do is look at the balance scale. I see I didn't increase it enough, so I can increase it again. Another thing you can do is look at the numbers. 2 times 2 is 4. Well, it's still not 6, so I need to increase it again. And look, when you get it right, you get a happy face, and you can see it's balanced. Okay, so now what you need to do is write this equation into your worksheet. So I'm going to pull up my worksheet. I'm going to make it so I can see the equation while I'm writing on my worksheet. Record 3 balanced equations you made. Okay, so here's the first one. 1N2 plus, I'm copying it right from the FET, 3H2 yields 2NH3. And then I need to make my subscripts. See the subscripts, that 2, and that 3. I can highlight them all by holding down Control and then click my subscript button up here. And another thing you should notice is that there's a 1 here. When you're actually writing balanced chemical equations, you don't include the 1. Like I said, we have to include it in the simulation because it doesn't work, but I'm going to go ahead and erase it. Okay, so I have my balanced chemical equation, the first one I made, typed into my worksheet. Okay, I'm going to minimize my worksheet. Then when you're ready, go on to the next one. Do the same thing. When you're finished balancing it, you'll get your smiley face and write it in your worksheet. Then do the same thing for the last one. Another thing you can do if you're still having trouble balancing, you can practice by playing the balancing game. Just go ahead and put it on level 1. If that's not enough of a challenge, you can always restart it. If you press start, it just lets you balance it. Now you don't get the little balance thing down here, but it gives you the molecules. So if you need to count the molecules, you can, you know. Okay, I'm not going to actually do this one, but you can see that it helps you out by giving you pictures, but not the balancing thing. This is just for practice. You know if you need practice. If you need practice, play the game, okay? Keep trying until you can get some balance pretty good. Okay, let's go back to the worksheet. Whoops. Okay, so that would take care of this one. You'll do the other 2 on your own. The last part is just balancing on your own, okay? There's nothing in the simulation to help you with these. You just got to try to balance them as you go through them. So one thing I know already, and you should know also, is I'm never ever going to put a 0 on any of these blanks, okay? The lowest number you should put is a 2, but if you need to put a 1 in there just to hold the place until you know that it's balanced, you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and try that on this one. But I don't usually put 1s in. I just know that there's a 1 there, right? And you're going to erase them at the end if you don't need it, okay? So now I could try to balance it. I got 1 sodium on this side, 1 sodium on this side. So 1 Na, 1 Na. I have 2 chlorines on this side. 1 times 2 is 2, but I only have 1 on this side. 1 times 1 is 1. So it's looking like I need to increase this number. So I'll make that a 2. Okay. So now let's check it because now I have my chlorines balanced. But look, I messed up my sodium. Okay, 2 sodium on this side now. 2 NAs on this side, but only 1 on this side. So I'm going to have to increase the number on this side. So I'm going to put a 2. Now that I think I'm done, you should always double check it one last time. So I have 2 Na on the left side, 2 Na on the right side. 2 chlorines on the left side, 2 chlorines on the right side. Okay, it's balanced, but last thing I got to do is take out my 1. Okay, you don't write ones. This is just assumed to be a 1 right here, okay? So that's 1. I'm going to go ahead and do one more, but I'm not going to write the ones in first just to see how it goes. Okay, let's see. How about we do this one? This one looks like a long one. Okay, so first I'm going to start with I. I have 2 I's over here on the reactant side before the arrow, and I only have 1 I over here, okay? So I need to increase this side, right? So I'm going to put a 2 there because remember the lowest number you want to put is a 2. So now I have 2 I's on this side and 2 I's on this side. Good. Now let's check the sodiums. 2 NAs on this side. 2 NAs on this side. That looks even. Nope. There's more NAs right there. Okay, when you're considering all the elements on one side, you have to include all of them. Okay, so I have 2 NAs here and I have 2 NAs here. That gives me a total of 4 NAs. So I have 4 sodiums on this side, but I only have 2 on this side. So I need to increase the number on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 2 here because 2 times 2 here is 4. So now I have 4 sodiums over here and I have 2 plus 2, 4 sodiums over here. Okay. So now let's move on to the next one. Sulfur. Okay, so I have 2 times 2, so 4 sulfurs. On this side, I already have 4. Yay, I don't have to mess with that. There's no coefficient here, so that means 1. So 1 times 4 is 4 sulfurs. Over here, now I can move to the oxygens. Okay, I have 2 times 3 is 6 oxygens. And over here, look, I already have 6 oxygens. So it looks like I'm done. You'll definitely want to double check it one more time before you move on. Okay, so 2 I's, that's right. 4 sodiums and 2 plus 2, 4 sodiums. 4 sulfurs, and 2 times 3, 6 oxygens and 6 oxygens. So I'm good. That one's balanced. Now, if you want, you can erase the lines. You don't have to, but it just looks a little neater because you know you didn't put anything there. And there's my balanced chemical equation. All right, there's one more thing I want to show you. I think I have just enough time before my 15 minutes runs out on my recording. You're not going to actually have to balance by filling in the blanks on the worksheet. You're not going to, on the test, you're not going to have anything like this where you fill in the blanks, okay? It's going to be multiple choice. So here's an example of what it will look like on the test. Which of the following equations is balanced? And then you'll be given 4 similar equations, and you'll have to look at it to see which one is balanced. So what you're going to have to do is go back and forth on each one to see if they're even, okay? For example, 1C, 4 H's, only 2 H's over here, right? So I know this one's not balanced, so I can pretty much cross that off. All right, check the next one. 1C, 4 H's, 2 H's, right? Not balanced. So we can cross this one off. Now you're not going to cross it off on your test, but in your head, cross it off. All right, 1C, 4 H's, 2 times 2, 4 H's. Oops, check the O's. 4 O's and 2 plus 2 O's. This one looks like it's balanced, okay? But you should always double check the last answer to make sure. 2 C's, 1 C. Oh, that one's not balanced. I can already tell from the C's. Okay, good. So that one's not balanced. So my answer for this one would be this one, so you would just select that on the test. Okay, so that's my answer. One more. It may show up like this. Like on the test, what needs to be done to balance this equation? Mg plus O2 yields 2 MgO. Okay, remove coefficient 2 in front of the MgO. Well, if I remove that, then my O's aren't going to be even, right? Add coefficient 2 to Mg on the left side of the equation. Well, if I add a 2 there, it looks like it's balanced, but we're going to do the rest just to check. Do nothing. The equation is already balanced. So we know it's not already because the MGs aren't equal. And then the last one, change 2 MgO to just MgO2. Well, I know that's not right because I can't change subscripts, right? So I'm not even going to do that. Never change the subscripts. Okay, so I know that my answer is this one. So that's how it will be on